Hi, I'm Patrick Giguere with Cosmic Alchemist Astrology. Thanks very much for tuning in today. So today I'm going to talk about June 2022. This is my Vedic sidereal astrological forecast and analysis for the month. Before I get to the point, thank you to everyone who watches these videos, who subscribes, likes, shares, comments. The views, the likes, and the comments are really helpful for the channel. Helps my videos to go up in the search algorithms when people search for different videos. So thank you to everyone who does this. And if you've not subscribed already, I ask you to consider doing so. You'll get an alert every time I upload a video. So thanks again, and let's get into it. So June 2022. This is the thing about life is it's always what you make of it. The times are always what you make of them. And the astrology sets the tone for our minds, because really the astrology is it's a holographic projection of our individual and collective psychic forces up into the heavens. So it's always what you make of it. You can do whatever you want with these energies. It's all dependent upon your perspective and your attitude. And it goes for all of us, even in the shittiest of situations. Sometimes in shitty situations we can only do so well, but we do have some power to choose our perspective and choose our attitude. And there are a lot of examples of people going through really tough stuff that can encourage us to adopt this attitude. So June is going to be one of these months. And every month is like this, but I think June's going to be a special lesson when it comes to this, because this is going to be a month of highs and lows. And usually for a given person, depending on their disposition and their attitude, even when the astrology gets tough, if they have a good attitude, if they're flexible, if they're adaptable, they can skirt through things, and things never get too bad. And if somebody really just feels like things are always being done to them and they're not choosing their attitude and perspective, then sometimes you meet people who are just always doing kind of badly. But for all of us, I think for all of us, regardless of attitude, this is going to be a month of ups and downs. We're all going to feel it. So this lesson in life will be accentuated here in June 2020. So I think that makes sense. So, life is always what you make of it, and there are always ups and downs, but I think June's going to be a bit more of a roller coaster than usual, because there are going to be some serious opportunities. There will be some setbacks. Again, it's not the end of the world. It's not World War III. It's not starvation, all that stuff. But we'll be encouraged to panic. Mainstream media will encourage us to panic. And like always, alternative media will encourage us to panic, because fear and sensationalism gets people views, clicks, likes, and views, and subscribers. So we will be, things will happen this month. We will be encouraged to flip out about it, and we've got to do our best to stay objective and to not fall for it. So that's the way that's been going. And there will be one of the big things this month, especially with the full moon on the 14th. We're going to have a glimpse into the box of secrets. A good way to look at Scorpios, it's like an abyss, or it's a box of secrets. It's not quite the abyss that Pisces is, but it's like a well of deep hidden secrets and closet monsters and all that kind of stuff. So there'll be a full moon, 29 degrees of Scorpio, so 29, one of those miracle degrees, just like 0 degrees. So an opportunity for really powerful, crazy stuff to happen. And Scorpio's transformation, so it's a transformation opportunity. It depends how we take it. Do we take it in stride, or do we not? Do we take it personally? And And actually, to jump back, one of the big highlights this month, Mercury will end its retrograde on June 3rd, very early in the month. It will it'll stand still before it goes direct, so it'll stop moving backward relative to the Earth. It'll stop retrograding, it'll stop at 1 degree before it goes forward relative to our perspective, before it goes direct. So 1 degree of Gemini. So yeah, that's a big degree. So 3 degrees of Gemini is the fixed star Algol. So Algol again is the head of Medusa, the head of the Gorgon. So this is all about people figuratively losing their heads, sometimes even literally, but much stronger in a figurative direction. So people not being able to think clearly, think objectively, and they lose their minds. So communications will go haywire. Financial markets will have some bumps and bruises. Probably shipments. We'll probably get more drama with international shipments. Somebody will, basically through mass media and alternative media, somebody or a group of somebodies will cue us up to shit our pants about monkeypox or some, whatever the scare of the month is. So, and they're just using these scares as excuses to jack prices up and sit on shipments and all that fun stuff. So, yeah. Shipments, communication markets will lose their heads. People will lose their heads about that. You might see the stock market, I don't know, lose 1,000 points, couple thousand points. It'll bounce back this year. We're not headed into the real fun stuff yet. So, yeah, that's June 3rd. And then Mercury's going to take until the 19th to come out of its shadow. So the shadow period, when you talk about retrogrades, that's when a planet has to cross, going forward, it has to cross all of the degrees that it retrograded through. It's almost like the retrograde's still going on. You don't quite have the severe setbacks of a retrograde, but there are still setbacks, and it's basically working through all of the things that have to be corrected, that deal with the sign and the degrees of where the planet retrograded. So this one was in Gemini, Mercury's home, and again, this is all trade, shipping, travel, computers, markets, communication, media. So, probably some little media scandals that half the population won't notice. So yeah, but yeah, definitely, I'm thinking shipping drama. All right, and then too, big thing with this month is Saturn retrograding 1 degree of Aquarius. It's going to go back into Capricorn. And Saturn retrograde lasts for several months. So this is until what? October, November. Don't have it off the top of my head. It's well into the fall Saturn's going to retrograde for. So this is interesting. I think this is going to slowly start queuing up this revolution that's going to take place. I'm going to make another video about this, but I'm calling July 16th, 2024 the second Independence Day for America and really for the world, because the American Revolution, the Declaration of Independence, sent ripples through the world back in 1776, and people around the world wanted to not be ruled by oligarchs anymore. So this is going to be a much more powerful Independence Day in 2024. I'm making a separate video about that. Don't want to go into that right now. But the point is, Saturn being at 1 degree of Aquarius, Aquarius is we the people, it's the masses, it's all of us. And it also deals with fairness, justice, equality, just having an equal chance in life to make your living and to work for what you have, not to be given everything, but to go out and make it happen for yourself. A fair shot at doing that. So 1 degree of Aquarius, it's going to start. Saturn's going back into Capricorn, and Saturn spent 3 years in Capricorn. It was 2021, all of 2021, 2022, 2019, most of 2019. Yeah. So quite a bit of 2019. So basically Saturn is kind of taking the people's will and the people's anger, because again Aquarius is the people. It's going back into Capricorn, which is government, hierarchy, authority, you know, these pyramidal hierarchies. So it's bringing the fight to government, in my opinion, and it's correcting government. But this correction in government is going to have a flavor of the will and the demands, the justifiable demands of the people. Last Saturn retrograde, it was started in Capricorn, ended in Capricorn. So that's, to me, that's almost like government and authority figures just sort of correcting themselves and like keeping it all in-house. This is bringing that Aquarius energy in. So the people are going to start opening some whoop ass on government. They're going to get more scared. They're going to get more paranoid. And, you know, they're a bunch of parasites and they're losing power. So they're going to cause some trouble and, you know, raise some hell and make a mess. But they're going to lose. Because, another thing, 6 degrees of Capricorn back in December 2020, you had that Jupiter-Saturn conjunction. So, and the first one at that, they were at the same declination since, I think it was like 1280. So it's a big restructuring of government, a big cleaning out. And while we're talking about Capricorn, you know, we've got Pluto is where it was in 1773, 1774. It's at 1 degree of Capricorn. So we're kind of back to the Boston Tea Party times where people are going to start being civilly disobedient and kind of saying, you know, fuck you fuckers. So that's something to look forward to. You know, I certainly don't encourage violence because compared to 250 years ago, there's a whole media machine that exists. So if people go out and they wreck some Pfizer or Bank of America headquarters, they'll just use the media to be like, look at these mean people who destroyed our property. And you know, what, 40%, 30-40% of the population who believes mainstream media is going to go, oh, those meanies, look what they did. So yeah, don't do that. Just vote with your money and don't buy their shit. And you know, boycott them. That's really the way to hurt these people. So yeah, you know, another big highlight too. Well, 2 more big highlights before I wrap this summary up. We have Midsummer's Day, June 21st. Not the first day of summer. Summer Solstice is not the first day of summer. That drives me insane. It's Midsummer's Day. Because after Summer Solstice, the days get shorter. So I don't understand how that's the beginning of the summer in the Northern Hemisphere. But anyway. So Midsummer's Day, June 21st, Summer Solstice. We have a Moon-Jupiter conjunction. So the Moon moves fast. So that is pretty auspicious. You know, the Moon changes the sign every 2 days. So yeah, that's in my opinion, that's nice and auspicious for them to be meeting up. So yeah, Jupiter and Moon will meet up in Pisces on Midsummer's Day on June 21st. So very beneficent, very benevolent planets. You know, Jupiter is one of the protectors of humanity, really the protector of the Earth. And Moon is the giver of life that rules the tides and, you know, all the waters of the Earth. So to have them meeting up on the day where the sun reaches its height in the Northern Hemisphere, that's very auspicious. That is, to me, a sign of blessings for the next year to come until the next Summer Solstice, June 21st. And then Pisces too. Pisces is spirituality and divinity and liberation, the ability to liberate yourself. So yeah, very auspicious. And And then, Rahu and Ketu, they are now in Aries and Libra respectively. So Rahu and Aries is what's in your head. It's taking initiative. It's taking leadership, especially in your own life. K2 is other people. It's business. It's like what you owe to other people. So this is all about, K2 and Libra is sort of like cutting sort of alliances, even people, kind of cutting them loose. And Rahu and Aries, it's really embracing who you are, what you want. Because Aries is identity, it's ego. It's the healthy ego. For the world, to me, this is about leading up to this revolution that's going to restore our freedom. Because, Libra is this, it's all about these alliances and partnerships and all these things that, we agree to or we sort of get convinced to agree to, and, we kind of start saying, wait a minute. So K2 is going to help us cut those away. And then June 27th, Mars goes into Aries, so this can make people a little crazy, a little angry, want to just give people a piece of their mind. Sometimes they want to riot. We'll see what happens. We got this whole rent-a-scare going on in Ukraine. Putin's part of this deep state too. They need some drama. And then, the last big event of the month here, we get New Moon in Gemini. So this is a big one. June 28th, New Moon in Gemini. This is 13 degrees of Gemini, which is an Ardra. Ardra is one of the lunar mansions. And it is one sort of end of galactic center. So you've got galactic center runs through Gemini and Sagittarius, which are opposite signs. So in Gemini you've got Ardra, in Sagittarius you have Mula. And galactic center, this is where the highest vibrational energy in the galaxy emanates from. When planets and then when the nodes of the moon conjunct with Ardra, crazy things happen. Because this high vibrational energy shakes up our reality, because our reality is largely based on misconceptions, delusions, illusions. We just don't see things clearly, and so we build our viewpoints, our opinions, our perceptions, and our lives, our institutions on these misconceptions. So this energy comes through, clears that stuff out. So, new moons are all about conceiving something new, bringing something new in. It's that dark place where conception occurs. So Ardra, it's the teardrops, the howling winds. So it's all about things that have to be torn down so that new things can take their place. So very powerful new moon, and we'll see some drama, we'll see a little chaos, but it's also an opportunity. Gemini, again, it's thinking, it's communication, it's media, it's trade. It can deal with computer systems, travel. So, probably some upsets in maybe all or, a few of these things around that time. And on that very day too, Neptune goes retrograde, 1 degree of Pisces. So, I'll get more into that in the longer version of this. So that's my summary. 20 minutes isn't bad compared to what I do sometime. So that's that. If you want to stick around, you're very welcome to. Alright, so let's go into some of this stuff with more detail here. So, Mercury stations 1 degree at Gemini. So that's 2 degrees away from the fixed star Algol. So Algol, again, head of Medusa, head of the Gorgon, it's a severed head. It can turn people into stone in the mythology. So that whole thing in the mythology about people turning into stone, it's when they face a situation or they learn something about themselves that they were avoiding, and paralyzes their mind. And you paralyze your mind, you can't act, you can't make decisions, and your body shows that your mind is paralyzed. You're just kind of stupefied. So some kind of drama here. And then when Mercury comes out of retrograde, it moves slowly, especially through that shadow period. So Mercury is going to stay conjunct Algol from the 3rd to the 8th of June. So it's going to be a period of drama, setbacks with everything that I mentioned that Mercury deals with. And then it's going to go through those shadow degrees until the 19th. So that shadow period, it's almost like the retrograde's still going. But the difference is that in the shadow period, you can take on new things that deal with the retrograded planet. So with Mercury, it's like, yeah, you can sign contracts and agreements and get into partnerships and travel, all that kind of stuff, publish things, engage in some sort of formal communication. Whereas during the retrograde, it's discouraged to take on new things. And the retrograde is Mercury retrograde is all about going back and correcting our thinking that may not be very well informed. So yeah, that June 4th, well, I covered that pretty well in the that little summary there, the first 20 minutes. But Saturn stations at that 1 degree of Aquarius to go retrograde. So yeah, it's taking the people's anger, because the people, Aquarius, it's bringing it back to Capricorn. Like I said, last time Saturn was retrograde, it was in Capricorn. It started in Capricorn, it went through Capricorn degrees, and it ended in Capricorn. So that was basically like officialdom. So not just the government, but corporate executives, people like that, even religious leaders. They're basically, people at NGOs, anybody with some sort of perceived authority. It's when the retrograde just takes place all in Capricorn. It's basically them saying, "Oh, we got to make it look like we have transparency and we're doing things the right way and that we give a shit about the people. So let's do something that makes it look like, we're for real here." So they're basically doing like an in-house audit. It's kind of like the fox watching the chicken coop, fox guarding the chicken coop. But you get this Saturn 1 degree of Aquarius going back into Capricorn. That's the people's indignation. That's the people's anger, saying, "What the fuck have you people been doing?" So I think this is an encouraging Saturn retrograde here. Government is going to be, and officialdom in general is going to be on its heels. It's going to be kind of getting pushed back into a corner, and the people are going to be calling it to account more and more. We're still not at the period where people are going to have the fire under their asses. We have a couple of years to go before they're really out in force with the fire under their asses, demanding their freedom and demanding some accountability. But it's coming. And like I said, with Pluto being where it was in about 1773, 1774, we're building up to that revolution, to this new revolution, to this second American Revolution, which is going to really be pertinent to the whole world. I think in spirit, I think everybody in the world and every country has the option to be an American in spirit. They're going to seize upon, these ideals of freedom. So, very encouraging. Because deep state, because they control mass media, they make it look like they're winning all the time and they're good at scaring us, but they're desperate as shit and they're really fucked right now and they're losing badly. If they were winning, we wouldn't even know about all the games they were up to. So, take some heart in that. Full moon Scorpio, June 14th. Maximum it's about 10 minutes until 8 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, so East Coast of United States of America, so 7:50 in the morning. So like I said, Scorpio, it's the chamber of secrets. It's 29 degrees, so 29 degrees is one of the miracle degrees. The miracle degrees are 0 and 29. You can look at it like a human lifespan. 0 is infancy, so infinite potential energy. 29 degrees, it's like old age. So a wealth of experience and wisdom at one's disposal. So a powerful full moon. So full moons are all about purging things, all about getting rid of things. On a full moon, the moon is reflecting the full light of the sun. So the soul basically illuminates the mind, the emotional self. And we have to deal with everything in there. We can't sort of like sweep things under the rug and just put things in the closet and say, well, I'll deal with those emotions later, or I'll deal with those memories later. The full moon, it's all there. It's all illuminated and we have to deal with it. So Scorpio deals with transformation. It deals with like our hang-ups, our traumas, our unconscious issues, our subconscious issues. And another thing it deals with too is it deals with scandals, secrets, conspiracies. It deals with like institutional money, other people's money. So there could be, and the whole world won't believe them. We won't have the undisputable headlines, but it's a good opportunity for news of scandals and conspiracies and all kinds of hidden shit that was going on. Maybe dealing with finance, who knows? Now, on that day, Uranus and Venus will be pretty closely conjunct in Aries. So Uranus at 22 degrees, Venus at 25. So Venus deals with diplomacy, friendships, romance, all human relations. And it also deals with the material environment. It's the sensual dimension of our human experience. So it's our material goods, our material wealth, all the material things we enjoy. Uranus turns things over. Uranus is a game changer, a destroyer of the status quo. Uranus turns paradigms on their heads. So we can, face some challenges in the material environment. So possibly from the beginning of the month with all kinds of shipping drama and drama in the markets, this may be the day where we really get a chance to deal with our feelings and transform them, to work the alchemy, to say, okay, well, we've got these challenges, but let's find the opportunity, or let's find the lesson to become stronger and become better through this. June 16th, Sun in Gemini. This is kind of traditionally when the sun comes into Gemini, this is a period where, Gemini is, the symbol is the twins. It symbolizes thinking and communication, but with these twins, there's a certain bipolarity with it. People can say about Geminis, like, oh man, it just seems like this person is like, has two personalities. I don't know who I'm going to deal with. So, this time of the year, this is when people are basically, traditionally, they're growing their crops. They're trying to ensure they're going to have a good harvest. So they're busy. They're a little worried. So yeah, they say traditionally this time of the year, this is where people kind of go a little nutty. But there's a whole bunch of different times. So I don't know. June 18th, Venus in Taurus. Venus comes home. So this is time when we can really do great things with our material lives, with our money. It's a window for new opportunities to make money, to secure our material existence. June 19th, Mercury's out of shadow in Gemini, so the retrograde influence will be behind us. So if there's any kind of shipping drama, market drama at the beginning of the month, this is when it starts blowing over. When a roller coaster starts going up. Midsummer's Day I mentioned with that Moon-Jupiter conjunction. So this is like some nice blessings from some benevolent planets. June 27th, yeah, Mars goes into Aries. People can go a little crazy. There's already some war going on in the world, so this can kind of up the intensity on that for a little while. And then, yeah, I want to talk about this new moon. So the new moon, again, new moon is a time for planting seeds. It's a time for conception. So, the womb is a dark place. It's where conception occurs. So that's what a new moon is. A new moon is when it's a time to manifest your intentions and your wishes and desires and all that stuff. So this is in Gemini, and again, ruled by Mercury, thinking, communication, trade, computer systems, travel. It's 13 degrees, it's in Ardra. So Ardra, again, it's all about the howling winds, the storm winds, the teardrop. It's about what has to be torn up so something new can grow. So this is a time to, if we want to change our attitudes, if we want to work on some project that requires communication, if we want to do something new in business, this is a good time to set those intentions and take action, make those seeds grow. Now, some interesting little things on that day. So with this new moon in Gemini, so the sign of Mercury, we have Mercury is at 24 degrees of Taurus. So Taurus is, again, it's the sign of wealth and materiality. Our material lives, our ability to go out and make ourselves a living. So this is all about, it's about thinking and communicating in order to enrich our material lives. So it's about what are we going to tear down so that we can do that. Saturn on this day will be 0 degrees of Aquarius at that miracle degree in retrograde, getting ready to go to Capricorn. So to me, this is about basically the people are thinking about how they want the world to change, what kind of accountability they want to see from officialdom, not just government, but all of officialdom. These fucking clowns like Bill Gates, who thinks he runs World Health Organization because he's one of the biggest donors. He's one of the 2 biggest donors through 2 different organizations. And he thinks he knows what's best for the world, and he thinks that he's going to ramrod these World Health Organization agendas through that supersede the laws of the land of the member nations. So, yeah, people are angry about this, and they're thinking about what they want to see change. And then we have this resonance with the number 13. So the new moon takes place 13 degrees of Gemini. Venus and Jupiter, the teachers, the 2 gurus, will be at 13 degrees in different signs, interestingly enough. So different signs, but this resonance of 13. So the new moon, Moon and Sun, 13 degrees of Gemini. Then you have Venus at 13 degrees of Taurus in its home. Then you have Jupiter at 13 degrees of Pisces in its home. So there's this resonance with the number 13. So as far as Jupiter and Venus being the 2 teachers, and they're protectors too. So Jupiter is, the Sanskrit word for Jupiter is guru. So guru means deep, so teacher of deep wisdom and knowledge. Jupiter is like the celestial guru, and celestial gods require absolute perfection, and they can be a little fundamentalist, but sometimes this is needed, sometimes this is the medicine we need. So it's at its home in Pisces, which is divinity and liberation and the spirit world. And also the deep unconscious, the abyss of the unconscious emotions. So this is something that's going into that new moon. Jupiter's trying to teach us to look deep into ourselves and see what it is that we really want. Because life is all about desire and being able to manifest it and live it out to your fulfillment. And then Venus is the other guru. Venus is called Asura Guru. So Venus is the teacher on earth. Because even though Venus is a heavenly luminary, she is a terrestrial goddess. So the terrestrial gods live within time and space. So they're more empathetic to humans. Terrestrial gods have wisdom, whereas celestials do not. Celestials are like all-powerful children. Terrestrials are like grandparents. And grandparents know what's worth getting worked up about. And they're not so concerned with perfection. They want you to be a good person and to treat people well, and whatever else you do outside that, it's okay. So Venus is in its home in Taurus, which again is materiality, it's wealth, it's money, it's food, and it's just our ability to go out and earn ourselves, a living. So yeah, I think this new moon has something to do with all of these factors. It's about people basically wanting just a fair shot at earning themselves a good life and to not be held down by inflation and cronyism in the economy, where small businesses aren't allowed to compete, which they worked hard at tearing down through the whole pandemic. Oh, and another thing too is Jupiter and Venus are both protectors of humanity. So Jupiter is a literal protector of the Earth because it's actually a magnet for asteroids and comets that could threaten the Earth. And then Venus is a warrior goddess. So not a conqueror like Mars, but a protector. So yeah, you've got the two benevolent protectors and teachers of the Earth and humanity. You've got Saturn, who battles for the underdogs at 0 degrees of Aquarius, ready to go back into Capricorn and clean up officialdom. And then you have Mercury at 24 degrees of Taurus in Venus's home sign along with her. So this is about people just wanting a fair shot. And so I think this is a powerful new moon, personally. And then Neptune's going to retrograde on the same day. So Neptune is virtual reality, so it's all mass media. And it's delusions, it's illusions, but it's also revelations. It just depends where we meet it with our consciousness. Neptune can also be divinity, and Pisces is divinity. So it's basically, this retrograde is going to be a signal for us to go back and think about what type of liberation do we want in our lives? What is our relationship with divinity, with what people call God, with our own souls? What is deep in our unconscious emotions, which Pisces symbolizes? And it's a time for us to reconsider our relationship with the spiritual, all things spiritual. So yeah, that was a mouthful. Thanks for tuning in. My site, if you haven't been there, is thecosmicalchemist.com, and you can book astrology readings with me. I do Vedic astrology readings, rune readings, and I Ching readings. All great ways to create a mind map, to take another look at yourself, and to understand your role in the situations in your life and how you relate to them. So, thanks a lot, and talk to you later. Have a nice one.